So this is our third installment on cordless miter saws. This particular video, we took a look at compact cordless sliding miter saws. Now, compact saws are a great option, not just for small shops, but for carpenters, remodelers, either with limited space or just don't want to carry heavy sliders around. And you know, a compact slider, the horizontal capacity, it can rival a 12-inch saw. Don't be fooled by their small size. They can hold their own, and most of them can make, I don't know, most of the cuts that we do on a regular basis. Probably 80% of the cuts that we do. Between their impressive capacity, smaller size, and significantly lighter weight, they are definitely worth a look. So for this head-to-head evaluation, we broke things into several categories for you. We looked at precision, accuracy, performance, speed, power, runtime, features, ergonomics, dust collection, and of course we took a look at decibels and price. We also even talk about best value. For each of these categories, we're going to rank them, and in the end, we're going to name the best compact cordless sliding miter saw. All right, what are the saws that we looked at? Well, there were 7 of them. We took a look at Bosch, Craftsman, DeWalt, Kobalt, Metabo HPT, Makita, and of course Milwaukee. Now, if you want to learn more about these saws, you're the type of person that needs the details. You want to know the specifications, more about the features, how we did our scoring, our charts, our evaluations, our testing methods, then you need to go to the website, toolboxbuzz.com, and read the article. The website always has way more information than the video. Okay, let's talk about accuracy and precision. To be consistent, the saws were all equipped with a Milwaukee 60-tooth blade during our testing. We checked the calibration of these saws right out of the box. We recorded our findings, and then we calibrated them. We tuned them up, noting the level of difficulty for that tune-up. Miter saw calibration, folks, it's a critical step. I know some folks don't do it, but a difference between 1 degree over an inch can result in a 1/64th gap over a 1-inch miter joint. So to check this stuff, we looked at table flatness, fence flatness. We took a look at bevel accuracy when set to 0 degrees, miter accuracy at 45 degrees, and of course we looked at crosscut accuracy when we set the saw at 90. So the winner of our accuracy testing was Craftsman. The Craftsman showed up on this out-of-the-box testing with first place and a score of 9 points. With the exception of its 45-degree accuracy, it scored tops in every single category of this precision. Now Bosch was second with 13 points, Makita was third at 14, followed by Milwaukee with 15 points. For this performance section, we ran 2 tests. So we looked at runtime and power. For power, we made 5 timed cuts in 7¼ LVL lumber, and we recorded the average time. Now, this is a simple test with some uncontrolled variables, but our methods were fair. And you can read about them on the website article. Makita won the power test. This test is really a good indication. It allowed us to see what the saw and blade configuration could cut. Now, Makita crushed this test. It came in at 2 seconds per cut, with Kobalt at 2.2 seconds, followed by Metabo HPT at 2.7 seconds. For the runtime test, the winner again was Makita. Makita showed up. So we made repetitive cuts in KD lumber until the battery was exhausted, or we experienced a thermal overload that prevented further cutting. Operators pretty much were instructed to start the saw, bring the speed up on the blade, bring the saw forward, drop it down, push it through the cut, come to a complete stop, reset, and repeat. Makita, with its dual battery system, it made 328 cuts, crushed it. Bosch Kobalt shined with 248 and 252 cuts respectively, 60 plus cuts more than Metabo HPT. No thermal overloads. I do want to note that the overall calculations for the best miter saw we didn't use these runtime tests. results. What we do is we use the normalized ranking, which accounts for the battery pack energy, and we call that watt hours. So the runtime normalization by watt hours, the winner of that was Craftsman. Whenever we do these head-to-head comparisons, we level the playing field by taking the results and dividing them by the results of the number of the watt hours for that particular saw's battery. In this head-to-head, the batteries varied in voltage and amp hours. So we derive watt hours by multiplying the load voltage by the amp hours. After running our calculations, Craftsman came on top. It came in first with 2.4 cuts per watt hour, followed by DeWalt and Metabo, 2.1 cuts a watt hour. Third place was Milwaukee with 2 cuts per watt hour. Now, this test allows us to see who has the most effective combination of battery technology, stamina, motor power on a per watt hour basis. Okay, we looked at features. Features, the winner of that was Milwaukee. And comparing multiple brands like this, the devil can live in the details. We looked at and ranked 10 different features. The Milwaukee came in tops with 21 points, and it was followed closely by Metabo HPT with 22 points. Makita, Kobalt, they came in third with 28 points. Now, Milwaukee shined basically with its angle and bevel features, blade cut line, light, dust collection, and it did well with its blade break, compact size, and maximum angle. It is a full-featured saw with everything you'd want on a job site saw. So Metabo HPT, tops in maximum angle bevel, had great outriggers, compact slide, electric brake, crushes cut capacity. It is a feature-rich tool, and it's beautifully crafted. The team really liked the rack and pinion bevel adjustment on the saw, and the 52-degree max angle and dado scoring feature is sweet. That dado scoring feature allows you to make a scoring cut or set up for a dado cut. Really, really nice. Okay, I want to talk about some notable features. We did this on the last head-to-heads. Laser versus LED light, shadow light. Bosch and Metabo HPT both have built-in lasers. They indicate one side of the blade, and the laser has a separate on-off switch. Now, the laser, it displays the line of cut even when the tool is turned off and the blade is not spinning, which we like, because you can line up your cut and set things up. On the Metabo HPT, the laser actually disappears as you lower the material on the blade onto the material. And this is because of the rubber dust shroud, and it blocks the laser when it gets to a certain point. We didn't like that. Look, in general, the Toolbox Buzz crew, we're just not a fan of lasers. We prefer the blade shadow light option, similar to what the Craftsman, Kobalt, and Milwaukee saws have. This shadow light, it marks the blade in any condition. Unlike a laser, it's never calibrated. It just casts a shadow on the blade, and that's mounted onto the tool. It is foolproof, and we like it. AC/DC option. Metabo HPT was the only miter saw that had this option. It is capable of running on battery or corded power. Metabo HPT accomplishes this with a battery pack adapter that slides into the battery pack. It's got a 20-foot cord and a brick-like inverter. Metabo has a really nice forward rail design, and it's smooth to operate, and it also takes up significantly less space behind that saw. This is going to allow you to put it up against a wall or in tight quarters, right? If you have a small shop and you work in cramped space, then this little saw can open up a lot of floor space for you. Now, Makita uses a 4 steel rail system that really does increase the rigidity of the saw head, producing real accurate cuts. And we were impressed with all of these forward slide saws. They were precise, and the head had very little slop in it, which was really nice. Okay, moving on to ergonomics, the winner of that was Bosch and Milwaukee. The ergonomics evaluation is purely subjective, and it is based on the opinions of our testing crew. After a full day, actually more than a full day of performance tests, cuts, the team spent several hours in the shop testing and ranking these saws in 6 categories. And we also included weight, and we weighed the saw, we carried the saws up and down stairs through doorways, gates, into tailgates and vans, and kind of get a feel of how they transport it. Bosch and Milwaukee took the score with 17 points. Metabo HPT came in second at 19 points. The Toolbox Buzz team, super impressed with the Metabo HPT. The manufacturing quality, its design. The design, it's precise, modern, and really well made. Now the Bosch, on the other hand, is a venerable 10-year design that it still holds its own. It's a solid job site saw. The team would really like to see Bosch redesign that top handle though, because there's a tendency to pinch your hand when you're transporting it, when you grab it from the top. The Craftsman was the absolute lightest saw of the group, but not having a top handle hurt its score. Now Milwaukee and Kobalt, they hit sweet spots for transport, ease of transport, with two side table handles and a well-placed top handle, well-balanced handle on top. DeWalt has an oversized bevel scale. It makes bevel angle adjustments super accurate and easy. It's compact, it's lightweight design, 31.5 pounds, super easy to carry, transport, and store. DeWalt also has a cam lock miter handle, easy to maneuver, delivers quick and accurate miter adjustments. All right, let's move on to dust collection. The winner of that was Makita. Knowing how your saw is going to integrate with a vacuum is important. It's an important measure of a saw's performance for any user. So we conducted dust collection testing by measuring volume of wood collected in the vacuum with individual bags assigned to each saw. Additionally, we assessed the buildup of sawdust that didn't make it into the vacuum and accumulated on the fence and around the tool. Makita took first place. We captured 8.9 ounces of dust, followed by a tie between Bosch and Kobalt with 7.9 ounces of sawdust. Milwaukee came in third with 7.5 ounces of dust. And real efficient for the most part. The DeWalt performed poorly on this dust collection test. And the reason was that the dust chute, there's these rubber flaps behind the saw blade, they collapsed when the dust extractor was turned on, which prohibited the vacuum from collecting all the sawdust. While an easy field modification can fix this, you can remove the flaps, cut them, this really should be done by DeWalt. It's their saw, it's not ours. Let's talk about noise, decibels. Kobalt took this. These days, more and more of you contractors are taking better care of your hearing. There's no doubt about that. I see it in the comments and the conversations that we have. OSHA allows for 8 hours of exposure up to 90 decibels, followed, and exposures 95 and greater, that limit just drops, right? So it's clearly all of these tools really do require noise protection. The quietest saw of the bunch was the Kobalt. It hit 84 decibels. The Metabo HPT was 84.4, right behind it. Third place was Bosch at 84.7. So they're all pretty tight right there. Moving on to pricing. Craftsman won that. And basically pricing, we based them on kits when available and at the time of this video. For the Kobalt, Makita, and Metabo HPT, we used a bare tool pricing plus the price to buy a battery and a charger because they're sold as bare tools. The best priced compact miter saw was Craftsman. That was $249. Second price was DeWalt at $369, followed by Kobalt at $412. Now the Metabo was the highest price saw, coming in at almost $1,200, $1,168. But it was also the only AC/DC saw, so that is something to consider. Okay, the best overall compact sliding miter saw. Who won it? Can you guess? Kobalt. To the surprise of the Toolbox Buzz crew, this test resulted in a winner, a tie, and a triple tie. Something we haven't seen before. The Kobalt took first place though with 27 points. Craftsman and Milwaukee tied for second with 28 points. The Toolbox Buzz crew has to give hats off to the Kobalt though. It was an excellent performer with some nicely thought out features. And while the team recognizes that Kobalt is not considered by most to be a pro brand, it performed well and the numbers just speak to that. The Kobalt saw surprised the crew with its impressive runtime. It scored tops in runtime testing, decibels, and price. It took second place in dust collection, the power test with the LVL, and had a solid third place showing in features. Now Craftsman was a surprise to the team, but it shouldn't have been because it's basically older DeWalt technology. It's owned by the same company. The Craftsman crushed 3 categories: accuracy, runtime, and price, which catapulted it right to the second place spot. Milwaukee was certainly not a surprise, as it's a solid pro saw. It's a pro level saw. It excelled in features, smart ergonomics, dust collection, and runtime. Bosch, Makita, and Metabo HPT tied for third place with 30 points. Now the Bosch also excelled in ergonomics, crushed accuracy, dust collection, and it did well in decibel testing. The LVL test, runtime, and price brought it down in score though. Makita placed second and pretty much third in almost every category, scoring well in many categories with decibels, runtime, and price hurting its placement. Metabo HPT, similar situation, accuracy, dust collection, and price affected its placement. They did poorly in that. The biggest disappointment though in the test was the DeWalt. The DeWalt scored second in price and runtime. All of the categories were jacked way up. This saw is basically, it's in need of a Gen 2 upgrade. We talk about the Makita, Bosch, Milwaukee. They scored all 1 point from each other, 1 point apart from each other. These 3 saws, along with the DeWalt, are the saws that we see the most on our job sites. They are the tried and true job site saws. So if the crew had to make a pick, we talked about this a little bit, we bantered. If we had to pick, the team unanimously picked the time-tested Bosch or Makita design. And all of them agreed that the Milwaukee was a tool that most pros would gravitate to, especially with its lightweight. If the team were playing with company money and we could buy any saw we wanted, then that Metabo HPT would be in the mix, as it's a really well thought out, precise, nicely engineered tool. Its $1,200 price tag though severely hurt its ranking in this test and probably is going to prohibit most people from considering purchasing it. DeWalt is by far the most common miter saw that we see on our job sites, but a second generation upgrade, brushless motor, better accuracy, and dust collection badly needed. Let's talk about the best value saw, and that was the Craftsman. The Craftsman saw tied for second place in our overall head-to-head. It's the lowest price saw, $249. If you're looking for a solid performing, good price, yeah, this is your saw. Guys, our all-pro contractor team put some serious time and effort into this head-to-head evaluation, and we're trying to give you the most comprehensive information available. These tests and evaluations are difficult to do, take a lot of time, and ultimately we're limited in the scope, right? And we're not a professional testing company, as well as we have limited time to evaluate these tools. We cannot do long-term testing that would shed light on durability, and we can't possibly test every single application that you might want these saws to be tested on. You know, we pick what we think makes the most sense for them. We get lots of comments though on how we make our final rankings. Some agree, some disagree. The good news, we've openly shared all of the data on our tests, and you can rank these tools however you want. If you don't care how we ranked a specific tool, no problem. Simply remove it from the matrix and re-rank the tools. Simple as that. That's why we do that. Hopefully you're going to find this head-to-head useful when you're comparing cordless miter saws. If you get a moment, please check out our other miter saw head-to-heads. We did a 10-inch miter saw head-to-head and a 12-inch. I hope you enjoyed this particular head-to-head. Please consider giving us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. I love hearing from you guys, and subscribe. Most importantly, click that notification bell right there so you don't miss any of our future content. Lastly, please consider subscribing to the Concord, Carpenter, and Toolbox Buzz on Instagram. And I don't know if you knew this, but we have a newsletter that we go out. It goes out once a month. If you're interested in subscribing to that, just go to the website and click on newsletter. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. We'll see you next time here at Toolbox Buzz.